Our group call themselves the Romeos. As in many things on this earth, is not exactly what it sounds like.
I marked some things here for using these to us. And I read the whole thing.
We meet each Wednesday at the Wadsworth Municipal Airport, and we go somewhere in the area to share lunch, and perhaps some memories, and most certainly a unique camaraderie. We have vastly different backgrounds and educations, but we have something in common. We love the air and the things that fly there.
So that's what I said.
We can and do discuss everything but religion and politics. Well, mostly it's so.
This woman calls up her husband on a cell phone and says, "Honey, be careful out there. It's on a television that there's somebody driving the wrong way on the interstate." He says, "Somebody? There's thousands of them." My name's Bill Woodall. If I make it to the end of April, I'll be 76 years old. I retired from Firestone in 1990, had 46 years in aircraft in the development department, most of it in aircraft tire design. I have built and flown a Benson gyro glider at one time, and now have a Sopwith triplane which I built and have flown a couple times, hope to fly quite a bit more. I fly actively in a Aranca Champion. My interest in aircraft tires has led me to put through a compendium of what tire goes on what airplane and what are the dimensions of that tire. This seems to be something that hasn't been accumulated, and it's now available for those who are interested in such things. I lost the sight in my left eye a couple of years ago, but have been able to get a waiver from the FAA and continue to be an avid flyer. I built this reproduction of a Sopwith triplane. It's a 1916 design made for the British Navy in World War I. It was a fairly successful fighter for its time. Two exist today. One is in the Royal Air Force Museum in Hendon, and one is in a museum in Moscow. The airplane took me about 18 years to put it together from scratch. I built it from the original blueprints that came from what had been the Sopwith company in World War I. It's made out of Sitka spruce, ash, various kinds of birch plywood. It has a rotary engine in it. That's where the crank is fixed to the airplane, and the 9 cylinders spin around the crank, and the propeller is fastened to the front of the engine. I really don't have much excuse for having built this airplane. I was like many fellows my age when I was a teenager, reading the dime novels that glorified the pilots of World War I, and I suppose that's what stuck in the back of my mind. I learned to fly in the Navy in World War II and a steerman, so I guess the idea of having lots of wings around me was attractive. But anyway, I picked an airplane which had been very successful in the First World War, and in fact, 5 airplanes in one squadron, flown by Canadians, shot down 89 German airplanes in a 3-month period and only lost one. And this airplane then became the inspiration for the Red Baron to get the Fokker triplane built so he'd have something to match it.
After retiring from being a mason contractor in '85, I took up farming for 5 years. Then I sold the farm and went to town and had some free time and went back into flying and had a lot of fun doing that. And I decided to build a peat and pole airplane, and that was successful. Then I went ahead and rebuilt a Piper Pacer, and then I sold that, and I had more time on my hands, and I decided to try another project, a bigger airplane, a bigger home built. And it was a Piper, not a Piper, but a Bear Hawk, a Bush type airplane, and I got that flying last year, 4th of July, and took it up to Oshkosh and took it down to Florida for Sun and Fun. And now I'm enjoying myself flying around the country in my Bear Hawk.
Started on this project back in January of '96. After finding out about this airplane being at Sky Park, a friend of mine told me about this Piper Pacer. I had previously finished up building a peat and pole air camper.
My flying in the peat and pole started really by sitting in the front seat in one of these peat and pole airplanes powered with a Model A engine back in 1989 when I went up to Broadhead, Wisconsin to investigate this Model A powered airplane. At that time, 1 or 2 Model A's, and was quite intrigued about having a Model A power plant for an airplane. And then I went ahead and bought the plans from Pete and Pole's son in 1991, then proceeded to work on the Pete and Pole for the next 4 years and 3 months.
Good, doesn't it?
I came to the U.S. in 1967 to get a degree in the University of Missouri. I got my degree and I was working in research in universities. Then I went to work for the industry and retired some time ago. After my retirement, I went back to my early days of flying. I have been flying for about 50 years, on and off. And right now, I am in building my third airplane, which I designed it. And hopefully, I'm going to keep on flying for a few years more. I live here in Wadsworth with my wife. She was a pilot too, or she is a pilot, but she quit flying. And one of my main joy is to get together with the old guys every Wednesday for lunch. And that's about it. Clear, Prof? Hopefully this project is going to look like this when it's finished. I am doing all the designing, but also based on traditional aircraft design. I'm not inventing anything.
is Corey Marvin. I come from Trieste, Italy. I started flying in 1961 with Dan Wilchin, and I've flown about 8 different airplanes that I own, plus dozen other for which I was in a VA program. I quit in 1980, but I'm about to start again flying today. And I'm going to get checked out today, and possibly coming Saturday, I'm going to go and buy a new aircraft down in North Carolina. If everything works right, I'll be an airplane owner in about, I would say, about less than a week. For the time being, over there, I intend to fly out of Sky Park and see if I can work with this old gang around here to keep Wadsworth Airport going a little bit long. How about that?
Brenda was getting supper one evening. There was a knock on the door. When she went, it was her husband's friend, Tim. And Tim said, "Brenda, dear, may I come in?" And she said, "Well, of course, Tim, you're always welcome. But where's my husband, Seamus?" "Well, Brenda," he says, "that's what I've come to talk about. There's been a terrible accident down at the Guinness Brewery. Your husband, Seamus, fell in a vat of Guinness stout and he drowned." She says, "Oh, my Lord, Tim, tell me, did he go quick?" "Well, no. He got out 3 times to go to the bathroom."
Okay.
Is that right?
2:30 in the morning.
That's okay.
Give me the check.
All right.
What about on the right side where you get the case together?
I'm from Massachusetts, a town called Lawrence. It's up in the northeast corner of Massachusetts. I'm 63 years old. I got into aviation as a child, really. My uncle used to take me on a float plane with him years ago up on one of the many lakes up there in New Hampshire. Lawrence, my hometown, is real close to the New Hampshire line, so you get around pretty good up there. I'm a retired airline pilot, work for U.S. Airways. I'm now in the midst of, I own an airplane. I've owned airplanes over the years. I've had probably about 6-7 airplanes. Currently I have an Aronca 15AC, which I'm converting to a float plane. It's going to be on amphibian floats. And I'm also in the process right now of doing a new engine in it. We're rebuilding an engine for that, and it'll be a totally different new airplane.
I'd like to tell you about a little bit of a project I've got going here. I just got back from Canada last night, and I went up and picked up these amphibious floats. These were manufactured by an individual for myself up in Canada, Quebec province, and I intend to mount them on my Aronca sedan. The sedan is a high-wing, four-place, single-engine aircraft, and I feel that it'll do a good job in terms of being a good performer. But this will be the first amphibian float to go on to the sedan. So it's been a long-term project for myself, wanting to do all this and put it together, and this is a crucial part at this point.
I'm Reno Fralick, and I'm helping Ken with these floats. We went to Canada, picked them up, and brought them down, and we just got done doing a wheel extension retract test. We're ready to do the retract now, and looks like it's going to be a fun project.
Hey, go ahead and go up.
Go up?
There you go.
The other side's going up.
The other side's going up first.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Stop.
Why don't you just hold your finger over the end of the can, like you do when you put gas in an airplane.
Those keep out and lock in place.
Yeah.
The last one to come out right there. I better start the car. I'm going to snap it in position. There you go. What that does is allow you to pull the rudder out of the water or into the water. That's it. This is in-water position. It's spring-loaded, see? So you pull it out, and then you're able to turn just like a normal boat. Rigging will go, it'll attach right here via that pickup bar. So imagine, if you will, this sitting right here like that, and you see how that is? It'll be actually kind of like that right there. That's where the rigging will be. There'll be one on the opposite side. Now this here is a scaffolding right here that holds a piece of styrofoam, which is the fitting to the bottom of the aircraft. In other words, this is a mock-up of the bottom of the aircraft, so as I can run my struts up to it to see where I'm supposed to be, then down on a diagonal, then up on another strut right here, which I'm in the process of making, which is right here. This picture I have right here, our set of pictures, shows two things, and it's helped me extremely in the rigging of this airplane. This airplane right here is my airplane. It is on a set of Edo 2000 floats, which are non-amphibian. The reason I have it there is just to see the general configuration of the strutting as you see it here, and I have it on my airplane. And then, of course, any other help it might give me. This picture right here is a picture of these new floats that I have. And as you notice, they have wheels on them, there, there, and there. That's the amphibian portion of it. As you can see, the strutting is the same as I'm doing right here. And right now I'm working on the rudders, which you see right here, and all the wiring that goes into the aircraft rudder.
Hi, I was born in Barberton, Ohio, 1927. I grew up in Barberton, graduated from Barberton High. I started flying at Sling Field in 1945, and I flew up until 1985 when I sold my airplane. At present, I'm restoring cars and working on them. I still have an interest in the aviation. I have an interest in airplanes, automobiles, and water skiing.
Stay behind me. So how'd you do?
Fine.
Did you fly the airplane?
You fly the airplane?
On that step there.
Here, Dad, I can do it.
Fly the plane? On a step right here. Yeah, you can. Wow. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
I'll give you a pencil from Indonesia when we get up there. I think you'd like to see it. Well, he, and this guy, they said that the pigs and the chickens were running through this house, and he was in there building these things.
I've been building model airplanes since I was about 10 years old. Started to go to contests when I was 14. And at that particular time, these were all gas engines and free flight. And you got... The motors would run, the engines would run for 15 seconds. They were all timed, and then the rudder was trimmed in such a way that they would fly in circles, and that's where you'd catch the thermals. And after that, during the war, I was in the Air Corps, and I was trained to be a flight engineer on C-54s. And but after the war, I went to college and that type of thing. And then after that, after I got my family and everything else all settled, about 26 years ago, I bought my first airplane. But I had already had my private license by the time I was 17. But and I got that under the CAA instead of the FAA. But when I bought the Stinson 108 just appealed to me as the epitome of a classic aircraft. When I got my Stinson, I rebuilt the thing. It took me about 1.5 years to rebuild it, and I was so proud of it, and I learned so much about aircraft that I never had any fear of flying my own aircraft. It was just a marvelous experience, and I would recommend it to anyone. And this is my workshop. Lovely. And right now I'm in the process of doing these. These little rings have to go on here. Then these slide in here. So far. Then 2 screws hold the whole thing together. This is the China clipper. And the only thing I didn't do is to do the corrugations up there, and I started it. It looked fake, and I decided not to go ahead with it. You can see the different textures, but these are all plastic. That's what they're done. But the smaller version of this, you can hardly even see what it is. And so anyhow, there are also some struts that come up here. Then you have the problem of what do you do to attach these struts? And is it necessary? No, it isn't necessary. It's just part of the scale. But you're also making a very difficult thing that can be broken off very easily.
Yeah.
And
are you going to put struts on it?
No, I don't think so. No, it just is not necessary.
They went up. Okay. Okay, number 176.
I've been flying since 1948. I've owned 3 airplanes. The present one I've had for 45, 50 years. And I'm going to sell it in a few weeks. And I intend to build an ultralight airplane. So that'll be a first for me. I've never built an airplane before.
Once you've completed construction, you have a beautiful airplane that's easy to take apart in less than 30 minutes.
Sailing, and I own a small sailboat that I keep down at Atwood, and I've had Homer and Phyllis as guests aboard it.
Like I said, yaw.
Bigger bottle.
Yeah, guys, take care of lunch. Bye-bye. Take care of lunch. We'll see you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know that. I was trying to do it, but now that I know it,
Well, this is a Starduster 2, designed by Lou Stoll. And there's quite a few of them flying. I started building this in 1978. and over a period of 17 years on and off building, I finally got her finished. The FAA certified it December 8th of 1995. It's powered by a 180 horsepower engine, flies beautiful, and every time I put it away, I'm always looking forward to the next time I can go for a spin. It's real good. I did all the work myself except for the stars and the streamers, the numbers, and the starduster on the back here, and the little leprechaun over here that's dusting the stars. My daughter did that. I'm 73 years old. I was born and raised in Akron, lived there 40 years, and then moved to Medina and lived there 30 years. And the last 3 years we moved to Spruce Pine, North Carolina. We like the climate, but we do miss this part of the country, or I do. And I just got my seaplane rating in Michigan in July, and I've been flying since I got my license, I think, back in 1960.
Oh, she'll be driving.
I was looking at something over there. I don't know, did
I've always been involved in aircraft and the people who fly them. I had my first airplane ride when I was 3 years old, my birthday. I didn't want anything else. Same time, I got a rather pair of thick glasses that said I was never going to walk on the sky. So I made it a habit of mine all through the years to try to combine motion picture and cable work with flying and men and anything that flies. That's why I'm with the Romeos now. Bunch of good fellas. I'm glad they tolerate me. This is my effort to share with you the things they do and the way that they do them. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.